So this week, we're going to talk about why you're probably wasting money on the wrong drag and drive car. Plenty of people are going to tell you, hey, you should build a 240SX for drag and drive. Well, I'm here to tell you that those people are probably wrong. Here are 5 cars that you can go all in on for under $25,000. All of them are way faster than your neighbor's opinion. And the number one on this list is probably going to get me drugged in the comments. I know I say that pretty often, but this one actually might. Welcome to Off Camber. All right, here's some quick ground rules. There's one. It's under $25,000. It has to be built to drive to the track, race it, and drive it back to where you came from. The big test, Hot Rod Drag Week. 5 days, 800 to 900 miles, 4 to 5 strips, historically. So what does it cost to track prep these things? Well, it's about $1,000. Helmet, extinguisher, fresh fluids, sticky tires, $1,000, right? Super easy. We can just blanket that for the entirety of all the cars. We're going to revisit that number, and we'll do it honestly per car, because the real answer depends on how fast you plan to go. Number 5, the Fox Body Mustang. So the Fox Body platform has a problem that has nothing to do with the car itself. The problem with the Fox, everyone has already figured out that it is a killer drag and drive car. A decent, non-rusted running Fox Body has crossed the $10,000 threshold. Good ones, solid floors, 5.0s, $13,000 to $15,000, and climbing depending on condition. That's going to eat a lot of your budget before you've touched a single go-fast part. You're going to have to play it smooth on the rest of them. Also, you want to look for the automatics. They have a little bit lower bar to entry, meaning the cost is a little bit lower, and they're better for the track because they're way more repeatable, way more predictable. So don't get me wrong, the Fox Body is still a great platform. Under 3,100 pounds, massive aftermarket, but here's the honest limitation of it. The 302 stock bottom end is going to top out at about 450 to 500 horsepower under boost. After that, you're jumping into forged internals, and honestly, that's a budget conversation most people aren't ready to have at this price point. So what are the best years for the Fox Body? Well, that's 87 to 93. You get the 5-liter high output era with a 225 horsepower engine, and then you also get the 8.8 rear end, which has a huge aftermarket in and of itself. The nightmares behind this car, well, it's not about the car at all. It's actually the market. Everybody on planet Earth wants a Fox Body, and the prices reflect it. Floor pans, trunk corners rust, but those panels are cheap and well documented. It's honestly the entry price that hurts this car. So what does it take to track prep a Fox Body? Well, if you're going to go under 1099 or over 135 miles an hour, NHRA wants a cage. That's $2,500 to $4,000 installed if you can't weld. So that $1,000 prep number actually becomes $5,000 once you're actually fast. And you're going to be fast. So what's the first money you're going to spend on this thing? Well, it's going to be on you and the car. You're going to need a helmet and a fire jacket at a minimum. You're probably going to want a full fire suit because fire sucks. You're going to want a cage. You're going to want a seat, maybe 2 if you're going to throw your buddy in the drag and drive with you. You're going to need a harness. Probably 2 if you have 2 seats. You're going to need a set of tires that you can swap on and off because you don't want to drive on drag radials or, definitely not bias plies. And you're going to need a set of wheels to put those tires on. So there's cost involved. So the entry is the important part here. Number 4 on the list, C5 Corvette. Yes, I know, a clean, low mileage garage queen going for $22,000, $28,000 all day long, and it's going up. But a high mileage, cosmetically rough, mechanically honest car, $10,000 to $15,000 all day long. But you don't need a perfect one. You need one that runs. Underneath that scuffed hood is a LS1 car built on a hydroform steel frame with composite body panels, weighing in at about 3,200 pounds. And get the one with the 4L60E auto. They're just cheaper. Everybody wants a stick. The nightmare of these things, rear diff bearings go on all of them. Plastic steam pipe cracks, replace it with an aluminum one. Maybe Motion Race Works or one of those places. Rear glass hatch seal leaks on every single one of these cars. None of it is a deal breaker though. You're building a drag car, not a show queen. What it takes to prep a C5? Well, this is the easiest entry on this list. The C5 is actually already fast enough to need a cage. Most tuned examples are going to run 11s or maybe even quicker without even trying. So budget for the cage from day one. You're talking about $2,500 to $4,000 plus a racing seat and harness. call it another 800. Drag radials on a set of cheap wheels from Summit, helmet, and you're at the strip. C5 was practically designed for this type of thing. So the first money spent, 10 to 15K for the car, 4 to 5,000 in track prep. You're still at probably 20 all in and ready to race. Still under budget. Maybe you can actually afford to sleep in a hotel. So number 3 on the list, getting it right all the time now, it's the 4th gen F-Body. Camaro, Firebird, doesn't matter. Your call, same result. You got 2 flavors of cars here. You got the LT1, which is 93 to 97, and those are meh. You know, and then you get the LS1 cars, which are 98 to 92, which is really where you want to be with this. Depending on the variant, you're going to get between 305 to 325 horsepower. Thing weighs about 3,300 pounds. And here's the thing that separates this car from the Fox Body. The LS1 stock bottom end is reliably documented into the 550 rear wheel horsepower range under boost. And the architecture itself gives you a very clear path to 700 plus horsepower once you're ready to get into the internals. That means that the LS gives you another 50 to 100 horsepower of ceiling over the 302 Ford before you're writing checks for forged internals. Best years for these cars, 1998 to 2002 Camaro SS or Firebird Formula. You can also get the Trans Am WS6. SS cars had better cooling, stiffer suspension from the factory. Don't sleep on the Firebird though. It's the same platform and people tend to ignore these things at the auction. And they look better. The nightmare for these cars is the T-tops, but it's honestly the price you pay for looking so cool. Yes, you can find a slick top. T-tops are way cooler. Subframe connectors, not optional. Bolt them on before you think about adding too much power, and the 10-bolt rear end on these things, more specifically the diff on them, is not going to survive. Budget for a 12-bolt or a Ford 8.8 swap before you need one on the side of the road in Oklahoma at 2 a.m. in the morning. That, by the way, is the drag and drive test. Can you fix it on the roadside at 2 a.m. in rural Oklahoma with parts from an AutoZone? F-Body passes, just barely. So what does it take to track prep an F-Body? Well, that's the same tier as a C5. That car is going to run 11s without much convincing. So you're in cage territory right away. So you're going to want a cage, seat, harness, helmet, slicks, all that stuff, right? You're probably looking at about $5,500 total. The difference in this is the car costs less to buy. So you got a lot more room in the budget for the parts that make it a little bit faster. Okay, first money spent, $8,000 to $15,000 for the car. Yes, you can find them for $8,000. Here's a list. $4,000 to $4,500 for track prep, all in $20K on the high end of things. So real quick, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. We build junk, race it, have honest conversations about cars like we're standing in a parking lot at midnight. It's fantastic. Everybody likes it. It's so much fun. Read the comments. And it's free. Let's get back to the list. Number 2 on the list, 77 to 87 G-bodies. So we got the Regal, the Monte Carlo SS, and the Cutlass. Same bones, different badges. GM built the perfect budget drag platform and then wrapped it all up in velour and sold it to your grandfather so he could go to bingo.
Bingo, bitches! Bingo.
Here's what the internet undersells about the G-body. The aftermarket is incredibly enormous and it's priced for real people. The best years for these cars, 83 to 87 Monte Carlo SS with a 305 or any 84 to 87 Buick Regal. You're not finding a Grand National in your budget or a GNX. Stop dreaming. The nightmare on these cars, they rot from the inside out. Trunk floors, rear frame rails, they corrode underneath where you can't even see them from a walk around. Jack that car up, get that screwdriver test going. Look at it before you commit. What does it take to track prep a G-body? Well, this is where the math is going to change. A G-body with the stock 305 is running 15 to 16 second quarter miles, and that means the safety requirements are minimal. You just got to make sure the door's closed, I think. Helmet, tires, extinguisher fluids, there's your original $1,000 number, and it actually is going to work here. But, and this is the whole point of this car's ranking, is you are going to swap it. An LS swap into a G-body is well documented, and the parts are everywhere for it. And the moment you do that, you've got a 3,400 pound car with 400 plus horsepower. And if you want to put some boost on it, you got about a 700 horsepower boost ceiling if you go with an LS3 or an LQ4 iron block. On a platform that doesn't cost as much to buy as some of these other cars. The LQ4 is going to be right on the hairy edge of reliability though at 700. Those are safer to keep around 600 because of the powdered rods and the pistons. The cage on this car is going to come a little bit later when the LS makes you fast enough to need one, and that's the budget advantage. The G-body lets you stage your spending. The first money spent on this car, $5,000 to $12,000 for the car. Yeah, no kidding. You can find them. You got to look, but they're out there. $1,000 for initial track prep if you're going to keep it in the 15s or 16s. LS swap later when you're ready. $3,000 to $5,000 for a junkyard LS and all the parts you need if you do the swap yourself. Number 1, the S10. Chris Bashir ran 819 at Drag Week in an S10. They call it Silver 82. It was on a 5.3 liter with twin turbos, 8 seconds. Drove it to every single track and drove it in between. Before you type in that's a truck, and yes, it's a truck, it's also the cheapest path to an 8-second quarter mile that exists in 2026, and I can prove it. So the S10 earns the top spot on weight alone. A stock second gen tips the scales at around 2,900 to 3,100 pounds, depending on the cab and the drivetrain. First gen's even lighter. And once you start stripping interior and swapping in parts, you can push that thing under 2,700 pounds, no problem. Drop an LS in it. I'm talking about an iron block 5.3 or 4.8 liter. That swap is better documented than most medical procedures. And you've got a power to weight ratio that embarrasses everything else here. And because the LS architecture handles boost so well on stock internals, you're looking at a realistic path for about 400 to 700 plus without even opening that motor up. Remember, 5.3 or 4.8 iron block. They love boost. The best years to get on this one, it's going to be the second gens. The first gens are the coolest looking by far. Second gens are the easiest to swap. You're going to look for a 94 to 04. It's got that better swap compatibility, a little bit cleaner sheet metal, and they look pretty aggressive slammed with some meats out back. The nightmare of these cars, frame rot, cab corners, floor pans, frame rails. Check it all over before you hand over $1. A rotted frame isn't a project, it's a donation to Goodwill. So what does it take to track prep an S10? Well, that is the same stage spending math as the G-body, but lighter and meaner. But now you're in cage territory. And the S10's cab, small enough that a cage is actually simpler and cheaper to fab than a full-size car. And after all is said and done, with the track prep, everything you need to start, you're looking at $17,000 to $20,000 for something that gets you into the 10s if you get it dialed. Start throwing boost at it, you're going into the 8s once you learn how to drive it. So 5 cars, 1 mission. Drive it there, race it, drive it back. And yes, I know guys, the GTO. Don't worry, it's coming. I'm working on it. So drop your build in the comments. What you're running, what you want to run, what you tried to run and now regret doing. We'll fight about it like adults. It's fine. And if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed your time here, and I'll see you next time on Off Camber.